Hi. So from I think the title of the video you can see it's talking about why I hate Christmas and how the UK killed my Christmas spirit, and honestly it brutally murdered my Christmas spirit, and whatever it did with the body of that spirit, only God knows, because I've not been able to find it up to this day. So I did not hate Christmas as such. In fact, I think Christmas has always been one of my favorite holidays of the year. And I think I would look forward to Christmas from around July. I think honestly I lived for Christmas before I came to the UK. And I was the sort of person who started singing Christmas carols like in June or something. And I loved everything about it. I loved the good weather, and I'm not talking about snow, I'm talking about sunshine, because that's for me all my Christmases until I came to the UK, there was sunshine. And I'm talking about Christmas carols. I was the sort of person like who would watch Christmas movies and sing along to every Christmas carol. If there was an event, not like how they have the Christmas carol events or whatever, I was there. I'd have like pre-Christmas celebrations whereby I'd take myself out, like my own version of 12 days of Christmas. And also it was about family, long lost cousins, people that you rarely speak to. And it was also about food, but not the British kind of food. I'm nothing against it. In fact, I do like a good roast, yeah, but it's not what I was used to for Christmas. So that was basically my Christmas. I lived for it. My God, by the time the 24th was getting there, I would, my head was switched off, and I was just thinking about how much fun, how much food I was going to eat on Christmas Day. In fact, on Christmas Day, I did not want to do anything. I didn't want to go to church. I didn't want to have breakfast because I wanted to save my stomach for all the feasting I was going to do later on. And then I came to the UK, and honestly, like with every single Christmas, I've come to hate it. I've come to, I don't feel like celebrating Christmas at all. Like with every single Christmas, it just took me to it got me to this place. And so what happened? Yes, so everything that makes Christmas to be Christmas in the UK is very different from what makes Christmas to be Christmas in Kenya, and that would include the food. So in Kenya, we usually have mbuzi choma, which is basically roast goat meat, and this goat is usually slaughtered in the morning at around 10, and then it's roasted, and some of it is boiled for soup. Then the other parts of it I used to make a bit of sausage, African sausage, which is really really delish. And all these meats are eaten throughout the day. So you start with the first round of nyama choma at around 1, then there's another one at 3, and then at around 5 you'd probably finish off with soup and mutura, which is some sort of African sausage. I'm smiling when I'm talking about it because honestly, my dad and his brothers, they make like the best mbuzi choma and African sausage, the mutura. Like they make they're like the best meat roasters in the world. They should probably open a restaurant and start doing it. And the other foods would be pilau, kachumbari, soda, mokimo. And for the pilau rice, there are a lot of variations of pilau around the world, and the Kenyan one is quite different from how they make it around the world, because I've had pilau rice in the UK and it's very different from what I usually have in Kenya. And then you'd have, you know, soda. I'm not too keen on soda, and I should explain a little bit about mokimo. This is usually some sort of mash. It's made from a black bean. I think it's an indigenous bean that has been planted by my ancestors, Kikuyus. And so it's small, you know, black, and then it has a small white stripe. And usually it takes a lot of time for it to get done, so it takes hours, you know, over 5 hours I think. And then after it's done, you know, after you've boiled it, usually you mash it along ripe bananas and unripe boiled bananas. And unripe boiled bananas are not your ordinary bananas, you know, the ones you have in the supermarket, which are not ripe. That's not the case. There's some banana variety which are better eaten when they're not ripe. That's what I'm talking about. And so I come to the UK, and for Christmas, this is what they have. They have pigs in blanket, I think, yeah. And pigs in blanket are basically small sausages covered in bacon, yeah. And then you have roast, which would be, I think, chicken or turkey roasted in the oven, some roast potatoes, some boiled vegetables, and their version of soup, gravy. Yes, so I do not mind any of these foods. In fact, I do love them. But I guess you don't realize how indoctrined you are about your traditions, you know, like the things that you're so used to do, you know, the things that you associate a certain holiday with, they remain with you no matter where you go, you know. Christmas, though it may seem like a universal holiday, you know, celebrated around the world, you find that what makes Christmas to be Christmas is quite different. And for me, food was central to it. I know someone may ask, so why didn't you get your own mbuzi and make it for yourself? Well, I could not find mbuzi choma for a long time. I think it took me 2 to 3 years before I finally found mbuzi choma, and I think when I first found it, it was frozen, and so it did not taste the same. And then even after I found it, I realized it's a bit different when you roast something in the oven and when you do it over charcoal. My god, it's absolutely different. Yes. So and since I live in a flat, so it's not like I have a backyard where I would be able to roast it over charcoal. Yes. So yeah. And then still on the differences, in Kenya, for Christmas we had a large family gathering, so around 30 to 40 people. I think in the 1 or 2 years where someone hosted me for Christmas, it was usually a small gathering, nothing against it, but I missed the big family gatherings, you know, the laughter, mocking each other, the games. I really missed that because they were part of the huge family gathering. And then I think what even made it sad for me, I'm not saying they should not have gone on, but it's realizing that these festivities went on even though I was not there, you know, and wishing that you were there, you know, looking at the photos and you're like, oh, I wish I was there. And then I'd say the other difference, the other thing that makes Christmas to be Christmas for people in the UK would be the weather. I guess Christmas, around Christmas time, it's always winter, you know. It's either snowing, rarely, but I guess one key feature for UK Christmas is endless rain and the cold weather. But this is quite different in Kenya because I think for me Christmas means sunshine. You know, people say let it snow, let it snow, let it snow, but for me I'm always thinking about, you know, the sun. I always associate sunshine with Christmas because that is what I was used to. No matter how many movies I watched where they were showing snow, what, I think it's really nice, but I would not mind if they moved the snow and the cold weather to Christmas and to July, summer, and they give us sunshine for Christmas. Sorry to anyone who is of the contrary opinion, which is like everyone in the UK. But that part of the weather whereby you look outside and it's gray, like right now I'm looking outside and it's gray. It looks miserable, so there's nothing to smile about. Yeah, and so everything that made Christmas to be Christmas in Kenya was no longer in the UK, and I think gradually that made it lose meaning to me. Like I needed to find a new meaning for Christmas. So I think the second thing that killed my Christmas spirit was doing a PhD. Honestly, you think doing a PhD is hard, but you have no idea how difficult it is. Like, especially when you're doing it in a foreign country. And so I found my PhD journey to be very difficult, and it was not easy on my mental health. Honestly, it was very damaging, and I think at times I thought I was dangerously close. You know, the line to insanity was over there, and that's just where I was just about to touch it, you know. I became withdrawn when I was doing my PhD. Honestly, when my family called, at times, you know, I think they assumed I was being a bit rude, but I wasn't. Like when someone was trying to talk to me like, hi, I'd be like, hi, how you doing? Okay. How's your day? Okay, good night. You know, I wasn't trying to ignore people. It's just that I was not in the right frame of mind. Sorry. So here we go. Yeah. Good memories. Yeah, so I did become a bit withdrawn as I was doing my PhD, and I think for my friends it was even worse. Like if someone called or they texted, I would not be bothered to message them back because honestly I was in a really dark place. I could not see light at the end of the tunnel during that time. So why did it make Christmas to be so bad? I say it's because you have these progress meetings, and for me the major ones, I think they fell around January, Feb time. And so in these meetings they discuss your progress, whether you're making enough progress for you to progress, you know, for them to allow you to continue doing your PhD, or okay. I'll be right back. I'm back. Yeah, so honestly, doing a PhD, it does take so much from you. Like, I can give you an instance. Was it last year? Yes, I think I had coronavirus, and I think this is like one of my greatest regrets. Like, I allowed my PhD to become like the most important thing in my life as opposed to my health and my well-being. And last year around October I had coronavirus. Yeah, so mine was really mild apart from one day. and not just one day. Basically it was mild, but I was very fatigued. And I think on one particular day, you know, the day when my results came back, I think at around 5 p.m. in the evening, I woke up, I was absolutely fatigued. You know, I was really, really tired. And I had a headache. Yeah, a really, really strong headache. And I think this is like the meanest I've ever been to myself. So I took some I took some painkillers. I can't pronounce ibuprofen, whatever it is. I can't pronounce that. And so I took some painkillers, took a shower, waited for my headache to subside, even though I was really, really tired, and then proceeded to work on my PhD. You know, that was how mean I was to myself, and how if you're not careful, a PhD can basically overshadow your life. Anyway, as I was talking about, I think I was talking about how my PhD made Christmas to be bad, and I was talking about these review meetings where they decide whether you've done enough to progress, whether you need to do a little bit of more work and have another meeting, or you're not doing really well. And my meetings were really, really bad. Initially it took like a whole month to prepare for these meetings. So that is around December, and I can say honestly, during Christmas Day and Boxing Day, it took every single ounce of strength in me to say, please just stop, relax, it's Christmas Day, enjoy it. You know, it took so much energy and strength just to convince myself that I could afford to take a day off. And then I guess the other thing that made Christmas to be so depressing, that is related to my PhD, is that around Christmas, given that I'm an international student, everyone had gone back home. I couldn't afford to go back home, and so in the student accommodation I was on my own on Christmas, and so that made the holidays just miserable. I mean, how alone you feel, like it's on a whole it's on a different level, like it's like nothing you've ever felt before. So the last thing that made me hate Christmas is that I was broke. Basically, I was broke for all the Christmases that I was in the UK, and this is related to my PhD as well. My PhD was partly funded. That means that I had limited funds, as my scholarship only covered my fees, and so I had to look for my accommodation, as well as I had to cover for the cost of other bills, you know, electricity, heating, water, telephone, food. That all fell on me, and so that meant I had to look for part-time work. And for some of the jobs that I got, that includes care work, as well as working in a factory. They were a bit labor intensive. That meant that at times I found them too tiresome, and so I found myself leaving the jobs. So I'd work for a few months, and then I would have to stop because I was too tired and I could not concentrate on my PhD. I think to make it worse, I came to learn that part of my tiredness was as a result of being iron deficient, and I didn't know this until I'd actually finished my PhD. And so I had to leave these jobs, and when you leave a job that you really need, it means you become financially worse off. And around Christmas, which is around winter, it's usually winter when Christmas falls under. And so around this time, my God, it was really, really bad. Especially, I think, when I left my care job, which I left in October 2019. That meant I had I think November, December, January when I was not working, 2020. Forget that Corona came immediately after that, and it got even much worse. But during this time, when it was winter, that meant my bills shot up, and I had no job, honestly. December, January, February, March, I did not turn on the heating in my house for even a single day because I could not afford it. So forget about Christmas, you know, not being able to afford a nice meal, or a traditional Christmas meal, or to go somewhere nice for Christmas. I could not even afford my bills during that time, and that makes it even worse, you know, like not being able to afford to take care of yourself around Christmas time, you know, worrying about rent, worrying about your PhD, worrying about food, worrying if I'm going to be homeless. In fact, I think I had to drop one of my friends because she said, oh yeah, you've left your job, guess what, you're going to be homeless like all those people you see in the streets. I mean, I was literally, honestly, I could not look at a homeless person without thinking, oh my God, in a few months this could be me. And this was around Christmas time. I was so worried about me not being able to afford my basic needs, you know, me not doing so well in my PhD, that Christmas was miserable as usual. You know, it was something that I had become accustomed to. But even when I was working, it wasn't any better, you know. When I was working as a care worker, and honestly, I did enjoy working as a care worker, but I guess what made it labor intensive, apart from the fact that I had an undiagnosed iron deficiency, was the fact that I was moving around on my bike. Like within a span of say 5 hours, you'd spend like 1.5 hours of it on your bike, and so I was always so tired. I couldn't even concentrate on my PhD, and that's why I left it like 8 months later. But then that Christmas I was working, and it was no better. I mean, yes, I could afford some food to eat, some really nice food to eat, but I was working on that day. And usually, as I said, you're moving from house to house, and in the dead of the afternoon, I found myself in an area whereby I could not go back to my house for a 30-minute break that I had, a 30-minute unpaid break that I had. And so most places were closed. I think there was a takeaway which was open, and it was raining. My God, if you've been to the UK during winter and you spent like a few minutes outside and it's raining, it's miserable. It is so miserable. And so here I was on a Christmas day in the afternoon. I bought my chips from a takeaway, and I stood outside having my chips, and it was raining. I felt so miserable. I felt so alone, like on another level, kind of loneliness. Eating my chips, you know, and I thought, is this what my life has come to? You know, I could not believe how pathetic, how sad, how desperate my life, you know, had become in the dead of winter, working, you know, on Christmas Day, not even being able to be inside in a nice warm place, you know. So that Christmas was, honestly, forget about any other Christmas that I said was bad. That was my worst Christmas. Holding chips on one hand, trying to keep warm, being rained on, you know, in that dead of winter sort of Christmas. I did not enjoy that at all. And you know, now that my PhD is behind me, my broke days are almost behind me, I still don't enjoy Christmas at all. I guess when you go through so many difficult Christmas is. It takes so much energy. You have to work on yourself to actually start enjoy Christmas again. And I guess all those challenges that I faced during those Christmas, they've brought me to a place where I cannot really be bothered about Christmas anymore, you know. And it has me thinking about all the other people that are even, you know, in worse situations than me. You know, there are people who are going to be homeless over Christmas. You know, there are parents who actually have to stay in a cold house during Christmas because they can't afford heating. Forget about them not being able to afford Christmas gifts for their kids. And here's the thing, even though, and I guess this is what made everything so bad in the UK, is that everything is in your face, you know. You can see other people enjoying Christmas, you know. You can see all these people posting on Facebook, you know, the mountain of gifts that they're going to give to their kids, or you know, their nice warm houses and all that stuff, the nice warm Christmas meal. It's in your face. I mean, you can see it and you can't afford it. You can't, you're not in the right frame of mind because your PhD is really stressing you out, you know. And I guess that's what broke me and made Christmas so miserable. Like, you could actually see, even though you were suffering, other people were not, you know. And I guess for me, it gets me thinking about all these other people and how miserable Christmas can be for some people in the UK. I don't know how. Have you had bad Christmases? If you've had, please feel free to comment about it. International students, how has your Christmases been in the UK? You know, it doesn't matter whether you're a foreigner or a migrant. How bad can Christmas be for some people? And so if you're in a position to help someone this Christmas, please do, you know. If it's that old lady who's living alone, Christmas does not have to be about your family. It can be about bringing cheer to everyone else who's in a really bad, desperate situation. Honestly, if you know someone who can't afford heating, try and chip in if you're able to, or maybe campaign for better policies or whatever it is. And so I guess that's the story of how the UK made Christmas miserable for me. Do I think possibly I'm going to recover in future? I don't know. I don't know, you know, because honestly speaking, they were so difficult. They were really difficult. Like, honestly, like, to sum it up, like, before I met a boyfriend who's made life a little bit much better because of all the support he's given me, especially over Christmas and when I was doing my PhD. I don't know if it's going to get much better, you know. I don't know if one day I will look back and say I had bad Christmases, but now I have, you know, better Christmases. I know it's going to take a lot of me working on my attitude, appreciating it, but I still cannot get over the fact that there are people who are going through the exact same situation or are in a much worse situation that I am, and for them Christmas is going to be miserable once again, you know. So if you're able to, please give to a charity that helps make Christmas better for people who are having it really bad. Or if you're able to invite, you know, adopt an international student, please do so, you know, and spread the Christmas cheer. As for me, as for this Christmas, I'd say I'm okay. I won't celebrate it as much as I used to, because I can't find the strength to do it as I keep blabbering on. But yeah, that's the story of how the UK killed Christmas for me. I should say, yeah, in terms of my mental health, it has gotten better now that I finished my PhD. I passed my PhD. It has gotten a little bit better, but I still can't get over the fact of how damaging it can be to do a PhD, and how it can affect everything that was good in your life, and leave the experiences, you know, and make the experiences negative. And so let me stop over there. Please comment, like, subscribe to my channel if you can, and I'll see you next time. So I hope the next story will be a little bit better than this one. Yeah, so yeah, and I should mention one thing. In the parts where I laugh, at times when I'm nervous or sad, I do tend to laugh, so I'm not being callous, you know. Oh, people are broke. No, it's just me, part of me. Anyway, bye.